Halifax professor's abuse of power and position.
We failed to believe you, and we are sorry.
A man who found his passion for fitness and supporting others.
I want to teach people how to eat better and make it permanent. And I want to teach them how to exercise and make it permanent.
And a woman involved with a murder of crows, that is.
Don't be scared of them. They're wonderful creatures. They're so smart. They're going to blow your mind if you get to know them.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Signal. I'm Sarah Drysdale.
And I'm Raisa Alibi. Former Halifax professor and priest Wayne Hankey used his position to target and abuse young men and students. President Leahy addressed the community and apologized to students and staff after the release of the Rubin Report on March 13th. The Signal's Carlo Chinini has our top story today.
We failed to protect you. We failed to believe you, and we are sorry.
Strong words coming from the president of the University of King's College, Bill Leahy. They come as part of an apology in response to the final report on sexual misconduct of a former King's professor. The report was an independent investigation made by law firm Rubin Tomlinson into the allegations of assault and sexual abuse by Dr. Wayne Hankey. Hankey attended King's College as a student, going on to earn a PhD at Oxford. He would return to teach at Dalhousie and King's College universities for over 40 years. Characterized as outspoken and charismatic, he was key in developing the school's lauded foundation year program and a new library. He had power, and he had access to young men. Through his teaching, his social life at King's, his role as an Anglican priest, and as Don in King's residence. The report concluded that Wayne Hankey engaged in a pattern of predatory and abusive behavior towards some young men, and that there were numerous incidences which ranged from subtle solicitation, sexual suggestion, homophobic remarks, to sexual assault. It highlighted the experiences of 15 men with credible complaints of sexual misconduct taking place from 1977 to 2019. Events allegedly happened at the King's Pool, located in the building that is now the gym, at Dalplex, in the residence, even once at the President's Lodge when the President was away. A complaint in 1990 to the Anglican Diocese of Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island led to Dr. Hankey being stripped of his priestly duties. The same complaint was made to King's. The university said Hankey was no longer allowed to live on campus and suspended him for a year, accepting his defense that the relationship, though inappropriate, was consensual. It never interviewed the complainant, and Wayne Hankey returned to the university 2 years later. The report also highlighted at least 2 cases of documents reporting Hankey's behavior to King's, one of which went missing and the other destroyed by a former president. It concluded that the university administration protected the professor.
I acknowledge with deep admiration the courage and resolve required by each of you to overlook your personal discomfort and pain, to be willing and able to come forward with your experiences and to hold the university accountable.
Hankey retired from King's in 2015, but continued to teach at Dalhousie. On February 1st, 2021, Hankey was charged with 1 count of sexual assault by the Halifax Regional Police concerning an incident in 1988. That was soon followed by 3 more charges for incidences taking place in the 70s and 80s, 1 for sexual assault, 1 for indecent assault, and 1 for gross indecency. Hankey pleaded not guilty to all charges. Wayne Hankey died at his home a month before the first trial. President Leahy says the university wants to make amends, whether that just includes apologies or financial compensation as well. Anyone coming forward by mid-April will be included in Rubin Tomlinson's report. Carlo Chinini, The Signal, Halifax.
Thanks, Carlo. Certain and important story for everyone on the campus.
Have you ever wondered what goes on behind the scenes of your favorite events? Well, look no further.
Kayla McNeil has a story telling us about what goes on behind the scenes of Halifax's beloved jazz festival.
I'm standing here at the Halifax waterfront. Right now, it's pretty empty, but come July 11th, the place will be buzzing with jazz enthusiasts from across the nation. It might look a little something like this. Music playing, people swaying, and good times all around. But But one thing we often fail to think about is who curates these good times, who chooses what musicians will be performing, facilitates their travel, and ensures things are running smoothly. The answer to this is, in part, Andrew Jackson, the artistic director for the Halifax Jazz Festival since 2017. Jackson works every weekday from his computer doing festival planning right here at the Halifax Central Library.
It's a lot of sending emails back and forth, contacting artist agents, artist management, or the artists themselves to see on their availability for playing at the festival.
Thus far, festival management has announced that groups such as Fleet Foxes, Feist, and Fortunate Ones will be taking the stage. Jackson speaks to the process of choosing acts for the festival.
We have a programming committee of people that offer suggestions and offer guidance on what they think would make for a good festival this year, as well as I am very open to consulting just people I know in the public that have thoughts, and some people give unsolicited opinions on what they want to see at the festival.
In addition to its diverse lineup, this year's Jazz Festival will include creative music workshops. These will involve music professionals from across the country coming to Halifax to teach workshops on music performance. Ross Burns, the coordinator for these workshops, speaks to the benefits they bring to the festival.
Regardless of what arena you're in, but certainly in like music and creativity, you sometimes don't get a chance to spend this much time with this many caring people digging deep into the real fundamental stuff, like talking about fear and habits and, not like what note to play or whether it sounds cool or that sounds cool, but just getting right into the very intense fundamental stuff, like how do you feel as an artist?
Planners estimate that about 500 hours of work will be put into planning the 6-day festival on July 11th. For The Signal, I'm Kayla McNeil.
You know those people in news stories who just have been walking down the street? In the news world, we called them streeters. Do you remember the first time you stopped someone to ask them a question on the street?
I actually do. I stopped someone on the street this year for the first time. Because of COVID, all of my interviews before were done virtually.
I have the same experience. When we were in class doing streeters, that was the first time, and it's very intimidating. But in the end, it isn't all that bad.
I agree. Let's see what people in Halifax have to say about spring.
And what are you most excited about for the spring?
I'm most excited about finishing classes.
Ooh, I think maybe flowers. Flowers would be fun.
This spring, I think I'm really looking forward to more colors outside and more natural colors, vibrant colors.
I do like some pretty colors around this barren atmosphere a little bit, so that's nice.
It's the bright greens and reds, the flowers,
And what would you say your favorite flowers are?
Ooh, colorful ones? I don't really know. Honestly, multicolored, I'll take it.
Speaking of spring, what better feeling than waking up to the sound of birds?
People who wake up to the sound of crows would usually disagree, but not Shannon Ellis. The Signal's Molly McNaughton has more.
There's been a murder recently in HRM. This murder in particular is one police say they won't be handling. When it's a murder of crows, the woman you're looking for is Shannon Ellis, aka the Crow Lady.
Don't be scared of them. They're wonderful creatures. They're so smart. They're going to blow your mind if you get to know them.
She got her title from a woman who referred to her as the Crow Lady on Reddit, a social media network where users can discuss any topic or subject matter. Her crow fascination began when she watched David Suzuki's documentary on the nature of things called A Murder of Crows. After that, her life changed. For 8 years, she's befriended crows in the south end of Halifax.
I started throwing them some peanuts because I heard they like peanuts in the shell, seeing if I could make some friends. Then that went on for a little while, and then after that I used to sit with them and have my breakfast while they had their breakfast, and we formed a bond and got to know all the different crows. And then, so here we are today.
According to the Nova Scotia Bird Society, there are several known flocks consisting of 2,000 to 5,000 crows that roost together in Nova Scotia during October to March. Mount St. Vincent University has one of the most popular flocks. The campus is known as a home to roughly 3,000 to 8,000 crows.
They follow me all over the place, and we're best friends, friends of a feather.
The large black bird with long legs and a thick beak can recognize human faces and has the cognitive ability of a 7-year-old.
First of all, my friends didn't believe anything I was saying about how these crows are acting around me. So I'm a bit of an artist and a photographer myself. So I said, why not document what's going on?
With her friends' encouragement, she uploaded the pictures to Reddit and other social networks. Soon, she gained hundreds of followers. But Ellis's enthusiasm for crows is not shared by everyone.
If you could describe a crow in one word, what would that word be?
A bird. It's one of the beautiful creature on the planet.
Mysterious.
A large black bird that makes a lot of noise.
Mediocre.
I love crows. I really love crows.
It's kind of cool that people think of me as the crow lady. My goal is to just draw attention to the fact that they're not as scary as everyone seems to think that they are, and I'd like to shed some light on how extremely intelligent they are.
If you have any questions about crows, reach out to Shannon on Reddit at Saradis.
It's Sarradis. If there's a crow photo, you're on the right spot.
Molly McNaughton, The Signal, Halifax.
From the Crow Lady back to the News Ladies, I'm joined by Kate Barrio, who's got a story about the LGBTQ plus community's safety in Halifax. Kate, how'd you come across the story?
Yeah, so I was looking into another assignment actually, and I noticed that the statistic for the LGBTQ plus community and hate crimes against them had pretty much doubled in the past year. And with everything going on in the United States, I thought it was a pretty good topic to touch on.
For me, when I'm entering a space, I need to know, okay, is this an anti-racist space? Is this a queer-friendly space? Is this a trans-friendly space? I need to know almost right up front.
This is a reality for many Haligonians, part of the LGBTQ plus community. A constant threat to their safety while doing the simplest of tasks. Like Nyla Tata, an employee at Venus Envy. According to Statistics Canada, there has been an increase in hate crimes against the community. The increase going from 258 in 2020 to 423 in 2021.
As people like to say, oh, we're all welcoming, we're very open, we're very kind to everybody, but because they're not very specific and haven't worked on those intersections, working with folks from marginalized identities, it's always a disappointment.
Charlie Gould is a DAL Out Education Coordinator. They help students gain access to resources on Dalhousie campus. This helps those who are questioning their identities.
There are queer students in this city, there are queer students in this building. So many of us have come out since then or come out differently, and resources are very important to be supported.
Researching up-to-date terms and using the most updated versions of pride flags are important. This helps the LGBTQ plus community know where they are welcomed and safe.
Looking specifically for QT BIPOC wording in events and things will let you know that there are communities here who will accept you and who are willing or who can hold all your identities together while you are a queer trans person.
Kate Barrio, The Signal, Halifax.
Certainly an important topic. How else can businesses indicate that they are safe spaces for LGBTQ plus and BIPOC people?
Absolutely. So the best way would be representation. Having someone with your gender identity, race, or sexuality in stores that you're shopping at definitely helps places feel more like a safer business to shop at.
Awesome. Thanks, Kate.
This next story makes me want to get up and dance.
I don't listen to rockabilly music, but I might start because of this band. Dylan Taylor has the scoop.
You will probably never guess what the band you're looking at right now is called. Bologna Colorado is their name, and playing old-fashioned blues music faster than you've ever heard it is their game. Lead singer Cole Shalafou says the name was inspired by a bizarre lunch meat experiment.
And I remember making corn dogs and wrapping them in bologna with cheese and stuff like that. And then I remember taking a picture of it and sending it, I think it was to one of you guys or somebody, and Bologna Colorado.
The name might be what draws people in, but the frenzied dance music, known as rockabilly or simply blues rock, is what makes them stay. The band is full of young people, which may make their decision to exclusively play an antiquated form of pop music a bit confusing, but their explanation is simple.
I really like when people are dancing or into it, because you kind of just make it like they're in the band too. So it's like almost like a big group activity.
Dal music professor Tim Crofts says this is what rockabilly was all about, at its peak of popularity in the 50s.
It's a certain kind of excitement. It's like right on the cusp of say youth popular music. Like it's got almost uncontrollable energy in it, right?
That energy sure is there. Videos of the band's performances feature dancers of all ages busting a move.
One guy at the shoe shop hocked a backflip and knocked himself out.
Croft says this energy and fun can get lost when the music played at bars comes from speakers instead of musicians.
There's a kind of communication, a wordless communication that's going on, the sense that we're all taking part in something. Once you can it, that's not occurring any longer. There's no real interaction going on between the music and the audience.
The band is playing weekly gigs at the Loose Cannon now. This is a year after their first public performances, which were played out of Otmar's van.
Dude, this is the best time ever! This is so sick!
Shalafu and Otmar may have started the band together, but their ranks have since expanded to include rock drummer Michael Ball and classically trained pianist Emily Denisick. All of these band members each came to know the blues at different times and in different ways, but they all appreciate its loose structure. Denisick says that the blues afford her a musical freedom that Royal Conservatory pieces don't.
There's a lot of room for like improvisation, creativity, and
error.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the style of music lends itself to that. Just kind of going nuts and having fun and playing and not worrying about mistakes or anything.
The band also hopes you will share in their bluesy liberation.
The name catches your eye. The poster catches your eye. If you come to a show, hopefully it'll tickle your ears and wiggle your toes and have a good time.
For The Signal, I'm Dylan Taylor.
Movin' and groovin'. Can these stories get any better?
Well, that's up to you because the next story is yours.
That's true. Last week, I spoke with Devin Sherrington. He's the owner of 360 Fit in Dartmouth, and 5 years ago, he developed a program called Project Fit.
Dartmouth is home to 360 Fit, a gym owned and operated by Devin Sherrington. Sherrington discovered his love for fitness when he was just 14.
I was horribly underconfident as a kid, and I felt really bad about myself. I didn't have a lot of friends. I was super shy, and the one thing I could kind of control was exercise.
Sherrington was a personal trainer as a university student when he realized it was more than a part-time job. 5 years ago, he launched a program called Project Fit.
I want to teach people how to eat better and make it permanent. And I want to teach them how to exercise and make it permanent.
No matter the client, Sherrington advocates for balance.
The big things I've learned to make Project Fit work is to not be too strict with people. Because if I say to you, okay, you have to eat healthy from now on, there's no more junk food, you'll be like, shut the heck up. And you're never going to do it.
The program was initially intimidating for Holly Chow, but she still completed it.
I am the kind of person that needs somebody to tell me what to do, how to do it, when to do it.
For Chow, staying on track with food was a more challenging aspect of this program.
I work a full-time job, plus I do personal training here part-time. I have a 6-year-old also, so it's hard to get in the kitchen, find time to do that.
360 Fit is like a second family to Chow and Amanda Chater. Chater completed Project Fit when she decided to invest in herself, mentally and physically. Like Chow, food was one of the more difficult adjustments in her journey.
So I love trying new restaurants. That was the hard part of the actual program itself. But then you kind of learn with the program that you live your life too. And if you are a foodie, you can still be doing those things just in moderation.
Sustainable habits are at the core of Project Fit. The program costs over $2,000 for 12 weeks. Sherrington is looking to develop a lower ticket option. Until then, he has some free advice.
If your calories are where they should be and your protein's 30 to 35% of your total intake, your food's good. Then you've got that settled. And then just walk, go for a jog, do some push-ups, do some squats. Like, you can make huge changes with very little.
For The Signal in Halifax, I'm Raisa Alibi.
Man, I feel so pumped after watching that.
You know what you should feel pumped for? Fighting for the protection of the North Atlantic right whales. Tell everyone about your story, Sarah.
So I came across an article not too long ago about how right whales are close to being endangered. I wanted to look more into this, and what better way than to talk to some whale experts here at DAL in the Oceanography Department.
North Atlantic right whales have been decreasing in population. The top 2 ways that they die are from vessel strikes and gear entanglements. Delphine Durette-Morin works with the Canadian Whale Institute and says that whales find it challenging to get untangled.
And what we've noticed is, they tend to, they often roll, and then that could get them wrapped. So they get wrapped into these rope, which then they have a really hard time to get out of because they don't have hands, right?
The right whales of the Maritimes feed on copepods, a nearly microscopic crustacean that lives near the ocean floor. Fishing traps are also on the floor. Manan Den Han, a student at Dalhousie's Oceanography Department, says this is yet another reason why they get tangled in gear.
You know that the bulk of the zooplankton is right above the sea floor. So the whale, wants to have as much as possible to eat with every dive. So they go down and want to eat, but you can imagine the crab fisheries and the lobster fisheries, they set their cages on the seafloor as well.
There have been a few solutions in mind that would help for a safer meal. Fisheries are trialing some solutions, but there are no definitive solutions yet.
One is the ropeless, on-demand fishing gear, which is basically you throw your cages overboard, wait for lobster to go in. So basically you let them sit overnight. You come back and with a push of a button, the cages will come up the surface so you can scoop them up and retrieve the lobster or the crab or whatever your target is.
With so many ropes and traps, the right whale population is declining. There are roughly 70 reproductive females left in the total population of 340 whales. With this in mind, finding a more sustainable and safe solution may just save the right whales. For The Signal, I'm Sarah Drysdale.
What a thrilling ride it's been. I'm Sarah Drysdale.
And I'm Risa Alibi. We'll catch you next time from The Signal in Halifax.